Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 3rd, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies I literally guide my virtually every movement by. So I know these tools will work for you because, first of all, they do work for me now. And they have worked for for literally thousands of others over the years with varying degrees of success, depending on their own personal efforts. Now, today on Positive Perceptions, we are going to be looking at literally how to believe in yourself and follow your dreams. How do you take your life from where it is now and turn it into what you personally desire? Before we get into it, however, we are going to start off with Destiny Rocks. You are in the house with the gold. Hopefully your day has been going well. And Christine, you have come in with silver. Thank you so much for joining us. It really means a lot to me to have you guys take your time out, take time out of your busy day to share it with me. Quite frankly, I'm basically, I'm really not that much different from people. Some of you will get to find out how blunt I really am and how much like this I am if you come down to Reno. Now we have Shadow and Sun in the house with the bronze. Okay, and Shadow and Sun, you are the first in the building with a live stream. So let's just pull that up here, shall we? All the way down here, and we find Shadow and Sun. There we are. And this is the link to Shadow and Sun's live stream. So absolutely drop in, give them a listen. If you like what they have to say, do give them a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. It's by sharing each other's links. I do not have the time with everything going on around me. I do not have the time to drop in on every stream, but I certainly have the 15-20 seconds it takes to pop a link up. Now, gotta go back in here because we have an interesting problem trying to keep track of it. And Storm and Shadow is in the house with honorable mention. Storm, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And let's see, that will not work. Looking for the stream here for Storm and Shadow, and here it is. So this is the link to Storm and Shadow's live stream. So again, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Then share the daylights out of the thing. Okay, now, let's see. If I look like I'm looking around, it's because I got two screens here. The one the camera is set on is right here. The one over here is the one I can actually read. And LA Moon, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And by the way, where it comes to later this year, I'm working out the logistics behind it. I'm going down to Reno for the 1 week, right? But I may be able to turn my trip down in the fall. Okay, and it might be in the summer. I don't know. It depends on a few things. But when I make the next trip, I'm likely going to be turning it into a 2-week run. 1 week in Texas, the other one halfway home. But we'll see how that works. Now, who else do we got here? Steve Knox, how you doing? Hopefully your day's been going well. And we have Nick Adkins. Welcome aboard. And Raven81, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And then we slide down here just a little. And there we are. Now, that's who's in the house at this point. Needless to say, we've got 593 subscriptions right now. Ow. Which is, this is why it's really quick to start. But here's the thing. We are, 10 minutes in. We are 5 minutes into the stream. And we've already got 12 people in the room. This is a better turnout than normal. Like a better starting point. From my end, I made a mistake. And thank you very much for that, LA. I am literally, at this point, I'm looking at the 600 mark. Last year, I set the bar so high for myself on so many things that it really offset things. I didn't get any of them accomplished. This year, I did, as I suggested to you guys, I put a list of 12 things together. Okay, that I desire to accomplish before the end of the year, before the end of 2024. 2 of them are already complete. Okay, now the third one, and I'm just going to see if I've actually got it here. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Whoop. That's not one of them. That's just a pop gun of mine. That doesn't work. This little item here. This is one of my other goals. Okay. Now, I was working on this 5 years ago when I had a very simple little problem. Ended up with this funny thing called a stroke. It really screwed up my ability to crochet. This, again, where is it? There it is. Not going to happen that well. This here, come here. This here is literally a blanket I'm trying to finish. I haven't decided if I'm going to stop it at a twin size, or because the twin size is the size my boys have, or if I'm going to complete it to make it into a queen size. Okay, but with that in mind, it's another one of the goals I'm just getting back to. I finally got my left hand working to the point that, you've got to have it working to do any crochet. Okay, let's face it, I'm not into the sports. Artistry is not my strong suit. This little blanket here is also one that I made. The one I'm really happy with, where did it go? Where is the one I'm really, this one. And yes, there is a reason I'm showing you these things, guys. This one was one that I literally made for my father. Okay, I got it back after he passed away. Now, the neat part about it, especially for those of you, those of you that have a Christian background, you'll love this one. It's a blanket, but my father's middle name was Joseph. Okay, and if you know anything about it, well, we don't have a coat of many colors, but a blanket of them. But when my father passed, I ended up getting it back. When I am talking about finding a way to literally believe in yourself, if you haven't done so already, the first thing you do, is this. And you notice I'm able to get up without actually going, I'm dying. This neat little sign. That was dangerous. This neat little sign. If you haven't already got it, write it just on a sheet of paper. It'll work like a charm. Get it on your fridge in the kitchen, obviously. Or if you've got a beer fridge, Put it there, whichever one's most active, or whichever one, doesn't matter. These 4 words, I am worth it. The 4 most powerful words in combination in any language I've come across, where it comes to rebuilding self-esteem, self-worth, self-motivation, self-identification, self-actualization. You get the idea. Okay. What do we got here? Yeah, Destiny's going, I still need the complete list, like 2 days. Seriously. That'd be an idea. Yeah. Robert goes, I tend to live by the adage to keep it simple, stupid. It tends to simplify a lot. Absolutely. This is why when I take a look at the laws that I follow, I only follow 3. Be true to yourself first. Okay. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Those are the only 3 laws that I follow. Okay. But if you compare the ones you follow to those 3, I do believe any one of the ones you follow will fit inside those 3. If they don't, for pity's sakes, drop me a line. Let me know what law it is that doesn't fit in it, because I'm looking for the problem. I'm certain there's got to be an exception. I might be wrong. I don't know yet. I've already looked through the commandments of the Christian church, the Jewish, the Church of Satan, the Muslims, the Sikhs, the pagans, the witches. Okay. So I've looked through, and then, of course, AA, NA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, the laws that are listed in written laws, as in country laws. All of these things seem to fit inside those 3. Okay. So, when we take a look at that, again, keep it simple. I only have to remember 3 laws. Okay. Now what do we got here? Yeah. LA's got her sign in the bathroom. Yeah, absolutely there, LA. Even company quite often, LA goes, everyone hits the bathroom sooner or later. I actually have one that I keep, the wood one here. I'll be working on it a little more this year. Okay. Actually, I got to get something because I got to get some input. But I've got that sign handy. I have virtually every book. Like, I've got lots of the bookmarks around here. Okay. I've got one sign on my fridge and another one that's literally pinned to my front door of my apartment. Okay. The reason being, you constantly are reaffirming this kind of belief, this belief structure. Okay. Now, that's your first thing. If you haven't already got a list, do so. But here's a neat little kick. And I know it's hard to believe when you take a look at the way I am. But maybe it's not. When I was young, when I was a child, I was so down on myself. I was never suicidal. Okay, just about killed myself one day out of curiosity. Not because I wanted to die, or I wanted to experience it. I literally just about jumped off the ferry in the middle, a mile from shore, just to see what it was like. I managed to get myself, I'd have been about 13 years old, got up on the inside of the rail, much like in the show Titanic, got up on the inside of the rail. I'm hanging on to the rail. I'm looking over. I've got no thought about I'm going to die. I'm like, I'm a good swimmer. Not a big problem. Right? It wasn't until a year later that I drowned. So I got up on it and I'm going like, maybe I better go inside before I do something completely retarded. Okay. And yes, I know people are going to go, oh, you can't use that word. It's so disgusting. You're being disrespectful. Get over it. Okay. That was blunt. you know, but what you do, like you take that, the fact that I was absolutely, I wouldn't talk to my parents about what I was going through because I did not feel that I was of any value. Okay. It still stuns me when I get you guys. I'll go through a period going, I don't know if I can continue this because I'm not seeing the impact that's necessary. And so many of you, even the ones that are just listening, and I use the term just really loosely, when you step up and say, no, you're actually helping more than what you think. Okay. So I'm still here. I mean, it still floors me. But this little book here, Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams, literally contains the backbone of how I took my life from that point to the point where I'm now on an almost daily basis coming up here, okay, coming live on video to say, hey, you can do this. We can do this. It's not a question of whether it's done the way everybody desires it to be. But it is absolutely critical that we turn around and realize one thing. One person cannot change the world. This is very much the case. Okay. I appreciate that, Raven. Raven 81 is going, if you are helping just one other person, it's worth it. It absolutely is. The thing I have to balance that out with is, am I helping enough people that, am I creating a problem for myself? And in all honesty, I'm really not. If I was, I would certainly be pulling the plug. Okay. I mean, it bothered me when I ended up throwing my back out the other day, and a few of you stepped up to help me get things booked around, which is why I will be in Reno. Okay, that's all sorted around. Now, the reality is, when you take a look at this, the first thing, see, this particular book, and again, all of these Believe in Your whatever, are simply 20 bucks Canadian in your hand. Every one of them will come, and where is it? Where the hell did I put that funny little folder? Of course, I'm not going to be able to see it at this point because I'm probably looking right at it. There it is. Every book that I send out, not only is it signed, but for those of you that don't like the idea of writing yourself, okay, every one of them comes out with this bookmark. Okay. Now, some people will take it and will say, oh, but where did you get the picture? The lighthouse in this picture, it's real easy to find. Here's the lighthouse in that picture. Okay, it's right here. And the reality of it is this. I took that down to my printer. They photographed it and then put it on the back of the books. Not to mention on the bookmark. So if you take a look at it, okay, how do you go about changing your life? Timus, man, how you doing? Glad you joined us. When we take a look at this, now it's only, 14 pages, I think? Which, yes, it's very short. But the reason I did that is because of this. I figure if you really require rereading it, most self-help books are simple. Most of them, what they do is they give you 300 or 400 pages and restate it in various different fashions. I do my best to keep things simple. This one has 16. Longer than I thought. Total length of the book, 22 pages. Okay, if you really have to read it again, it's not going to take you very long. Joe, I haven't seen you in a very long time. Hopefully you are doing well. But when we take a look at the steps that I took, first things first, you got to believe that you're worth the effort. Okay. Absolutely a necessity. And many of you, if you're anything like I was growing up, run into that little snag. Well, every time I do something, I run into an obstacle. People expect something different. Okay. So what I did with this was we start off with where do you start? I'm not going to read the book. Okay. That's for you to do. But unlike many people that I see talk about this, and all kinds of people write books and they go, oh, if you want the answers, just buy my book. Tell you what, I recommend it for one reason. Look at the size of it. It ain't that big. Some people I've talked to have literally told me that it made the other books make sense. Okay, but when we look at the table of contents, this will give you an idea of just how big it is. Or not how big, but how easy it is to pull this off. If I could actually find the... oh, there we go. Keep slipping past too fast. Okay. There are 4 literal steps. Okay. And the first one is about as easy as it gets. Now, who here prefers watching somebody frown as compared to watching somebody sit there and smile, even if it doesn't make sense? Which is more appealing to you? Okay. Do you feel, if you see somebody frowning at you or scowling, do you feel more inclined to go and talk to them? Or if you see them smiling and see them relaxed? Like, which one is more appealing from your standpoint? Yeah, absolutely, Joe, it can be. But you got to remember, sometimes you see somebody smiling. There's an old saying that goes, smile, keep them guessing. Okay, which I find kind of comical. Of course, I've been accused of having a rather dark sense of humor. Okay, but it does make people wonder, why are you smiling? And I will tell you this. If you're feeling down, number one, I'm lazy. My research, and yes, I've done a little bit in this department, but my research is based on over 150,000 clients. Okay, and their reactions. And what I have found is that when somebody smiles, the medical background is it releases something, and I forget the chemical name. Somebody out there probably knows. Okay, but when you smile, it releases a drug into your system, a natural drug your body creates, making you feel better. Okay, if you frown, first of all, it takes way more effort. That's serotonin. I thought serotonin was the drug to help you get to sleep. No, that's melatonin. Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. And Ellie is simply confirming it. So when you smile, you're literally making yourself high on a naturally occurring drug in your own body. You don't have to pay somebody for it. You don't have to get special meds. I mean, granted, you might want to do something really bizarre, because some people, when they smile, their eyes don't move. So grab a piece of Scotch tape. I'm not going to do it. And you take a piece of Scotch tape, you grab the corner of it, and you bring it in and bring the corner up. See, and then all of a sudden, you now have your eyes smiling at the same time. Although it does look a little weird on occasion. But smiling, there's a couple of big reasons for doing it. Okay. First and foremost, it is a gift you can give to anybody for absolutely free. Absolutely no effort. Well, it'll take a little effort, but it's the one gift you can give to people that costs you absolutely nothing in the way of money. Okay. It's also the only gift that I know of that if somebody gives it back to you, nobody complains. Okay. So, like I have told people over the years, I was about to say over the centuries, but we'll settle for decades. As I've told people, let's start another pandemic. Okay, let's start another pandemic. But the pandemic I desire you to, that I'm encouraging you to start, is smile. Make it spread around the world. Okay, let's get a flash fire set of it. Absolutely, Timothyman. I am so glad you dropped in. Do enjoy the rest of your day there. I get a kick out of this. Joe's going, don't smile at an animal. They think you're growling and showing your teeth. This is, in all fairness, quite often the case. Okay, but I will tell you, like, you got to remember, there is a certain amount of common sense, which is one of the fastest dying commodities on the planet. I'm dang certain of it. But when you smile, have you ever noticed you can tell somebody just about anything if you're smiling when you say it? Okay. Now, I do encourage you, again, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay. But the smile, first and foremost, when you're sitting there and you're looking in the mirror and you're looking out at people and you smile, simply smiling at somebody and nodding, okay, literally can be all that it takes with some people to bring their spirits up just enough so they don't do something completely dense. Okay. And I will tell you, there are those of you that are fighting severe depression. I know this. I fought it for years. Okay. Then I gave up on it and said, no, I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm just going to stay depressed and be done with it. It's easier. And like I said, I'm lazy. Yeah. Sorry, LA. Where it comes to the font size, that would be Frank's job. Guys, I can tell you this, if I remember correctly, something that might work. Okay, if you're trying to make it larger for you to read, hold down your control key. And if you've got a mouse, I can't show it to you. If you've got a mouse with a wheel on it, if you hold down the control key, ow. If you don't mind me, throat seized. If you hold down the control key and roll the wheel, it'll grow the font for you. Give it a try. I'm not going to do it here because I keep jamming my computer every time I make an adjustment like that. Iwax, how you doing? Yeah, Iwax goes, here's some lyrics. If you smile at me, I will understand, because that is something everybody everywhere does in the same language. Absolutely. Now, I will warn you, what Joe pointed out is some species do not see a smile the same way. Okay, I'm not getting into that tonight. But Shade, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us. The reality of it is a smile is one of those things that will help turn your life around. I know, way, way, way too simple to make that work. But it is the reality behind it just the same. And here's the kicker. Do not take my word for it. Well, hey. Okay, here's the kicker. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Okay, the important factor here is this. If you haven't done it, if you haven't given it a shot, in this case, What's it going to hurt? I'm betting dollars to donuts your face isn't going to crack if you smile, unless you got really, really chapped lips. And that's another issue altogether. Now, here's the other side of that. Number one, I'm lazy. It takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. Now, granted, if you leave your face deadpan, even simpler. Okay, the important factor of it is this: if you feel like smiling, do so. People don't, on the whole, complain. Okay, if you don't feel like smiling, smile anyway. Yes, it's going to feel forced. It's going to feel fake. However, it has the same impact, both on the serotonin, because the serotonin is released because of the musculature, not because of the way you're thinking. Okay. It's kind of like if you're in the bathroom and you turn, or in the kitchen for that matter, and you turn a water tap on. The water flows because of that muscle of opening up the valve. It's that simple. Okay, so thank you so much there, Shadow. It was a long haul. Do not throw your back out. It's a royal pain in the neck. And by the way, no, I did not smile a lot while I was trying to move with my back out. If you really can't bring yourself to smile, get some makeup, get some paint the thing on your face. Okay, it's just that simple. Again, yes, you'll get weird looks, especially if you paint a smile on your face like they had on, painting a smile on your face, by the way. How about not painting one that looks like Pennywise? This may not have the result you might hope. I know, I'm thinking, Joe, that's not necessarily a good idea. Joe goes, paint a smile on your face like the Joker. I'm thinking the Joker, Pennywise, these are not good examples. Okay. It would be funny, though. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, LA goes, back sprain, dancing barefoot on razor blades. Stepped on actually, I haven't stepped on razor blades before, but I have stepped on spikes. Okay, I have stepped on nails. Not a fun experience. Okay, but the smile, that is right off the bat, it will help you feel better. Okay, something I did not put in the book. Okay, is literally the other thing you can do right off the bat. Find the fastest dance pace music you can find. Crank it as high as socially acceptable and let it run in the background. The increase in the vibratory rate caused by the music will bring your spirits up. It will help you feel better and more energized about accomplishing things. Okay, now, with this in mind, okay, music does help a lot. Nathan, how we doing? Oh, there you go. Hey, are you going through the mall? No, wait a minute. That's bad. Not are you going through the mall? Are you going to the mall? Because that's always a lot of fun if you're really trying to stress yourself out. And let us see. This is Nathan. So pop that up and let us find Nathan. Oh, come to think of it, this is Saturday, is it not? Yes, it is. Okay, so we copy that. And this is the link to Nathan's live stream. And again, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, come out, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay. And where are we here? Oh, okay. On Nathan's show tonight. Now, number one, tonight, 9 p.m. Central. This means 7 p.m. Pacific. In other words, we close down here at 6:30. By 7 o'clock, Nathan is ready to go on the air. Okay. Drop in, give him a listen. Okay. Raven is apparently going to be there with him tonight discussing Antarctica. Oh, there we go. LA goes, yeah, the quantum show is 8:05 Mountain Time. 8 p.m. Well, yeah, typed 8:05, but 8 p.m. Mountain Time. 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific. You get the idea. Okay. Eastern Time, we go instead of 9 p.m., you're at 10 p.m. Okay. And it goes on further and further. You get the idea. Okay. But absolutely sharing these links. This is my way of doing what I can, because I cannot attend most of them. I know as soon as I get done this stream, I've got a call I have to make. I've already set it in motion. So you can, gang into Nathan's show tonight for me at, when it comes on at 7 o'clock Pacific. I'm not likely to get to the first part. I will see what I can do about the second. It depends on how the call goes. Okay. But you remember what I said. You've got to be true to yourself first. Okay. But absolutely, I encourage you to drop in, give them a listen. I know, like Nathan, I've been on Nathan's show a number of times. We see things very similar. He calls it quantum energy. I call it 0 point. And as William Shakespeare put it, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Now, we've covered the two big issues, the smile being the biggest one. The other thing, if we look at this, okay, if I could get my hands to work, that'd be great. Now, the next thing about feeling better about yourself, and I've covered this a number of times. Do not ask me the number. Okay. One of the biggest things here. Okay. Oh, there we go. LA is going, the panel chat for the quantum show is at 9:30. I'm hopefully going to be clear, but I'm not making guarantees at this point. Okay. The only thing I ever guarantee anybody is I'm not about to lie to you to make you feel better. I just don't see the point. Okay. But with that in mind, take a look in your heart. Are you content with the way your life is going? I'm personally not content with mine. Okay, so I'm making changes. I am content with the fact that I can actually stand up today instead of feeling like I've been run over by a Mack truck. Now, you don't have to know how to fix what's off in your world. All you really have to know, or more to the point, what you require is not, what you have to do, what is imperative is you understand what you're not content with, not what you think you might be content with down the road. Take a look at the way your life is. Look at the way you're feeling. Is there anything about your life you're not content with? If there is, make an adjustment to that thing. Now, I get the picture. Okay. Well, change is difficult. Change is hard. Change is scary. No, you want frightening, get up and take a look at this mug in the first thing in the morning. Okay, this is why I don't. I figure it's safer for me. And besides that, I fracture far less mirrors. This is why I absolutely luck out. Okay. I mean, it's just fantastic from my end. I luck out and pull off a neat little stunt whereby, what an awful idea. I found myself a partner that I don't have to worry about scaring her with my looks. Okay. She's blind. Therefore, problem solved. Of course, it was wonderful when I told her, I'm very controlling right at the beginning of our relationship. I flat out told her, I said, look, I have a very serious control streak about me. There is no way I'm going to encourage you or even support the notion of you driving downtown. Well, she walked right into it and she goes, Well, why not? I looked at her and I says, because you're blind, right? And she goes, and so of course, needless to say, she got the message. So from my standpoint, I found somebody, I don't have to worry about my appearance scaring the daylights out of her. But if you're not content with something, make a change. Doesn't matter what it is. Here's a scary thing. If change was difficult, if change was dangerous, was scary, think of it this way. Every time your heart beats, there is change going on inside you. Every thought you have changes things inside you. Every time you speak, it changes something. Every time you move, every time you hear something, you're always changing. It's the one constant in the universe. Funny part about it is I don't recall anybody I've ever seen constantly writhing in pain because of change. Absolutely, we have been taught that it is frightening. We've been taught that that the elites, the government, the clergy, the spiritual guides, aliens, whatever, somebody other than the person in the mirror is to blame for the state of your world. Bad news, no. Okay, I will not debate the point that many of you have been encouraged to buy into that, but you got to remember, you've been encouraged by people that were taught the same way. Watch the way that children behave. They simply play with each other. Take a bunch of 3-year-olds, put them in a room. Okay, put them in amongst toys and what have you. They interact, they giggle with each other. Yeah, yes, there's a little bit of, of going back and forth, going, oh, that's my toy, I want it. Absolutely, but that's where parents have to step in and help them learn to adjust. Unfortunately, as we get older, we are taught, you're taught how to be greedy, how to go after instant gratification. It's all about me. No, it isn't. Okay, there's an old saying that literally goes, it takes a community to raise a child. One individual doesn't do it. It is not just one person. I myself cannot change this world. I can, however, encourage the change to happen. But it is going to require your guys' assistance. And therefore, I am absolutely asking you to do so. Okay, to spread the word that, now is the time for us to change. Now is the time for this world to become the world that it can be. So you look inside yourself, identify anything you're not content with. Okay, like now my sideburns I'm keeping. Told my other half they're staying, but I'm not content with the beard. So everything from where about there to about there is going to go away tonight. Okay, it's that simple. So I don't like it, so I'm removing it. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about the pain because thankfully with electric razors, you don't actually have to worry about pain. In my case, I actually may have had a problem because you guys have seen my hand shake before. Okay, I once had an electric razor in my hand when my hand spasmed. I had the razor sitting here. I tore my throat open from here all the way to here. Okay, with an electric razor. Can anybody figure out why I refuse to use a safety razor or worse, a straight razor? I even know, like my father used to be able to shave with a knife. You really think I'm going to put a blade to my throat? Same problem for somebody else doing it. I've been known to actually have my neck spasm so bad that it pops the spine at the back. Okay. So of course, if somebody else is trying to use a straight razor on my throat and my head suddenly spasms, well, they've got a mess on the floor and I'm out of here. Mind you, when I did it with the electric razor, I healed so fast. I had another shirt that was this color to start with. It was a really, really neat shade of absolute red, right? But, when it happened, totally destroyed the shirt. Can't imagine why I didn't keep the thing. But you find out what you're not content with. Now, let me ask you this. Is there anybody in the room that actually is really happy with the way your life is right now? I mean, all aspects of it. Are you happy with your health, your living situation, your partner, your whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, don't care. Okay. Are you happy with the way your relationship is going, with your finances? Okay. If the answer to any of that is no, then now is the time to start changing it. Now is the time to put things in motion to make it alter. Okay. But the reality is, it's up to you. Now, something I haven't dealt with about what I did in here, and I'm not going to today. Okay, there is one thing that I'm not putting in here. Why wouldn't you desire to do this? There are reasons. Okay, and yes, I included them in that. So, you take a look inside. Now you've got the backbone of that. Now, your next step, and you'll notice these are all very simple steps. I'm not asking you to become a rocket scientist, although Lord knows we need a few more of them. Okay, but once you get a look in your own head, in your own heart about what you're content with now, then you turn to the physical world around you. Now, you can bet your bottom dollar, I'm not content with this. Now, watch how difficult this is. I'm not content with the fact that I've got this blanket in the way. So I grab it and I stuff it back in the bag out of the way. And now it's no longer on my bed. Odd thing that. You notice I didn't hurt myself. I didn't scare myself. Wasn't difficult. These are simply changes that when you're doing it, they're in the way. I don't like it where it is. Pick the thing up and move it. Any of you that have children, I'm absolutely certain you've run into that problem where you said, look, it's not working what you're up to. It's got to be altered. Okay. So absolutely do something about it. Now, whatever you do, people keep, I've heard the comment before, oh, you can't have my guns, I have my rights. I've got my gun, but here's the neat little thing about this gun. This particular gun has never, ever, ever been even capable. No part of this gun has ever been capable of firing a round. Okay, because even if you were to pack it and load it with black powder, you'd blow the back end off it. Okay, but that's my gun. Now, of course, you can't shoot a bullet out of it, but I will tell you, the thing weighs about 2 pounds. I think. I've never actually checked. Okay, but that barrel, if you take a look at the end of it, you take a look at the gauge on that steel, and the barrel is all the way to here. Okay, like all the way to that far. And the rest of it's just wood. Well, wood and metal. But, okay, pointing this at somebody that's got a really neat side effect, if you're in a good area. Okay, in a bad area, that thing will get you shot. But take a look at the way your world is physically. If your halls have clutter, I will warn you, if you don't get them cleared out, the energy gets bottlenecked. Okay, and if the energy gets bottlenecked, you're going to feel lethargic. You're going to feel more tired. You're going to run into a lot of things. I know that sounds depressing. It's like, you're telling me I'm going to get worse. Well, don't take my word for it. Take a look around your house. Is it clutter-free? If it is not, Clean the clutter out and take a look for yourself how the energy runs. Now, where am I sitting here? There we are. Okay, the important factor here is this. You have the capacity in yourself to change the direction your life is going in. This is not something that's going to take a lot of struggle. It requires a couple of important factors. You've got to do the work. I can lay the tools out. And yes, I am quite willing to sit down with people on a one-to-one basis. I'm in the middle of building a workshop to literally go over it in a lot more detail on each step to make certain people get the message and figure out how to do it, because the real hard part is not the first step. Everybody makes the first step. And the reason I say this, watch a child when they're learning to walk. They first of all struggle and they take that first step. Okay. And they get so excited. Oh, I got my first step. The second one is usually reactionary. They make the first step, and the second step is usually to literally catch their balance and avoid doing a faceplant. Now, some of them are really cute. They'll make that first step, and on the second step, they sit down, usually with a kerplop. Okay. If you don't have children of your own, watch other people's. And I don't mean get creepy about it. Okay. But the first step is the easy part. The second step is usually reactionary. The third step is the one where you are now consciously going, I'm putting the other foot forward in order to get to my destination. Same thing with changing your life. Getting started, many of you have already started. How many times? Like, I mean, realistically, how many times have you made the effort to start changing your life? Alter your health, alter your exercise routine. Maybe you're working at altering your sleeping pattern. How many of you have gone, I've got to change my life? You get started and then life gets in the way. And because you're running in a little bit of a loss, what ends up happening is you turn around and you stop doing it. Okay. Now, this is why we keep getting up and starting over. Is because we have to, it boils down to, I'm not content with my life the way it is. So I am changing it. Now, I got something going on here, and I don't know exactly what, so I'm going to take a peek and find out. Let's take that over here and see. Oh, okay. Okay, I will take a look at that later. Kind of necessary, but that's okay. Like I said, some of you have my messenger, my Facebook. Okay. So I just check in periodically to make sure that I'm actually on the right track here. Let's pop that up there and get it out of the way. But you take a look at what's going on with your life. When you're looking at a project that has been sitting there, doesn't matter what it is, break the project down into 15-minute to half-hour jobs. The reason for this, and this is why I keep telling people about this list issue. Can't reach. Not well, anyway. And where did I put it? Of course. Yeah, I got a room. I'm sitting in an office here. And my pen keeps going missing. In this house, that's actually not that much of a surprise. So I go over here and grab one. Again, when we're looking at changing the way your life is going, it's not a question of just going, oh, I want it to be different, so it's going to change. It changes when you pick up the pieces and go, I'm making an alteration. I think it was Einstein I first heard it from that said the definition of insanity is to repeatedly do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome. Well, I've done the same thing over and over again for 55 years. Okay, almost 56. Give me another 3 months. By the way, that puts me actually still in Reno on my 61st birthday. Okay, now with that in mind, I've been doing the same thing. I sat back and said, let's wait and let these people wake up and figure it out. 55 years I've sat and waited for people to figure it out. So far, it hasn't done much. I've watched the society dig itself into another rendition of Craterville. Okay, it can be changed. Your life can absolutely be changed. Now, I did figure out something yesterday. Like I said, I went through my finances to give you an idea. I've been telling you everything's tickety-boo, and we're moving forward, and we don't have anything to really worry about financially. Well, here's the brass tacks of it. I just figured it out this morning. Yes, I've got a little bit of credit room on my credit cards. Yes, I've got a $14,000 investment that I can't touch for the next 8 years. And I do have an overdraft on my bank account, but actual accessible cash. Okay, January 3rd, I was down to literally, and you'll love this one, and this is me going, I got lots of room to work. January 3rd, 2024, my free cash, and understanding that I've got credit card debt and what have you, not exactly free, was $524.95. That was my entire bank cash available. That was it. Now there is a saying that goes, man is not judged by the height to which he climbs, so much as by the depth from which he climbs. Okay, so when you look at your finances, okay, I've got 2 kids living with me that we literally, it was on the verge of going, okay, I no longer have any money to fall back on. I'm tapped out on credit, etc., and I'm down to $600. Well, $524.95. Okay, and I'm going, we'll be fine. We are. Okay, on January 31st, we made a breakthrough. We finally have an income coming in. Okay, now it's time to push the rest of it into place. But when you look at your life, take a look at the area around you. And of course, where do we start? Where you start is literally wherever you are sitting right this moment. Okay, this is not rocket science. Wherever you're sitting, take a look at the area around you. Ask yourself, is everything in place, or is there something that requires being moved? Okay, now you may be looking at the situation going, I see all these things that I have to change. Absolutely. But let me explain something. When you're looking at changing things, one thing at a time. Okay, now I am about to do something here, and I'll show you just exactly how quick change can happen. Okay, this stuff here, I don't do that. This is actually, that's simply a sweater I've been using. But these things here, I do not require. Of course, those are empty. And again, like I said, this is the question. These are the tools I use. Okay. So we take that. Now. Oh, I didn't realize that. You guys have been staring at a door that you don't really need open. Now you'll notice, all of a sudden that clutter that was hanging right here, okay, is gone. Here's the other neat little kicker to it. Why am I pulling this off? Well, the reason being, I decided that yes, this is bonus, no marks. This is a web that I'm building for my empire. The problem is, you notice the amount going on. I'm about to change this down to a much smaller version. Okay, where it literally will end up altering the way my world is working one step at a time. Okay, again, falling back on that idea. Okay, keep it simple, stupid. Now, I personally like the term keep it simple, silly. Still, the KISS method. Okay, a lot of people make what I call stupid moves. But let's be clear on stupidity. True ignorance is when you do something and for whatever reason you just haven't figured out that it's a bad idea. Okay, when you do something that you don't get and you did it ineffectively. Okay, for instance, if you're a child and you put your hand on a red hot burner, you may not know that a red hot burner means you're going to burn yourself. So you put your hand on it and you let go. It's like, ow, that was painful. That's true ignorance. Okay, now it may take you 2 or 3 times to figure it out if you don't have a parent going, would you mind not doing that? But eventually you'll go, red hot burner, don't touch because it's painful. Then, once you come to that conclusion, taking your hand and putting it on the red hot burner, that's stupidity. You know you're going to burn yourself. You've already got the experience. Now you do it, that's just plain, and that is plain stupidity. You don't have to like the term. Okay, find a different one. Okay, but I've never been known to be overly politically correct. Okay, I really haven't. But when you figure out what you're not content with, start making changes I strongly encourage you to talk to somebody that has successfully done it. Okay, in my case, where it comes to successfully doing things, went bankrupt twice under on the guidance of professional bankruptcy trustees. The only people I found that really benefit from a bankruptcy are the bankruptcy trustees. If you feel you're on the edge of it, okay, and you haven't filed, now do understand something very important. I am not a financial advisor. I've never been trained. Of course, it means I don't have all the rules that trained people are taught. Oh, push this because it's good for the bank I'm working for. No, I look at it going, okay, where is your money? What are you sitting on? How do you get it turned around? Okay, I will absolutely walk you through it. And that is one of the workshops that I am putting together. These are things that will come into play pretty quick. Okay, but you take your goal and you break it down into 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Okay, and by doing that, by putting them on that list that we talked about, what do I do with it? By putting them on that list, you'll be able to check them off and go, I see progress. Okay, and when you've got quantifiable evidence that things are changing for you, you will find your belief in your own ability will climb. It's a natural side effect. It takes practice. It takes consistency. And yes, that is another one of the many documents I'm in the process of writing. Okay. Needless to say, we are going to take a look at things as we go along. Okay. And by the way, I've got no shortage of material, but if there is a problem you're facing that you would like, that you feel would make for good information, absolutely let me know. If I've got it in the works, great. If I don't, I will probably end up starting up a new book. Okay, or a new booklet. These ones are all very small. And I've got 12 of these already lined up. Okay, the fourth one I'm in the middle of working on. In all fairness, I'm pretty much working on all of them. But again, I have pared things down to start making headway one at a time. So, very important from that standpoint. Now, what do I got here? Let's just see if we're making any headway. Probably not. But, where is my refresh? What I'm looking at over here, this is the stream that tells me what you guys are seeing. Okay. Now, again, if you like what we're talking about, if you like the topic, absolutely give us a thumbs up if you'd be so kind. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Let's make this world a better one. Let's get away from the idea of what we cannot do, of what isn't going to work. Okay, it is time to stand up and say, hey, take a line out of Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it anymore. Quit buying into the fear that is being propagated. Quit buying into the idea that you can't do it. Way back in the 70s, and some of you will remember this, there was a series out called You Can Do It, Duffy Moon. Now, I don't remember much about the series, but I do remember that title. Okay, and it has literally become one of the things I look at and go, I can make this happen. And I'm living proof that 3/4 of the stuff that you're told can't be done. I've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt in my world, it can be. And yes, I am quite willing to help you understand and help you wrap your brain around the fact that just because you haven't found out how yet, okay, I will tell you there is a way to make it happen. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, literally, the fact that you're listening to this stream and you're listening to me, basically a nobody, telling you there are ways to make this happen. Okay, they may be unorthodox. They're almost certainly not what you've heard before, but there is a reality to it. And the fact that you're listening does tell me point blank, you haven't found what you're seeking in order to change your life. Now is the time to do it. Okay, how about if we turn around and really start pushing the limits and making this a world that we can look back on and go, just like we do with lockdown. Well, that was a really annoying path. Okay, for me, lockdown worked out really well. I didn't want to leave the house to start with. Okay, I kept having to make excuses. Ow. I do hate subquantums. Anyway, I kept having to make excuses for not leaving the house. So for 55 years, I've been fighting with the idea of leave me alone. Okay. Then lockdown comes and they say, stay home, stay away from people, and drink lots of warm liquids. Okay. Oh, lockdown. Everybody else calls it COVID. Okay. It was a reason, it was a pandemic that was causing everybody problems. For me, it provided a perfect excuse. Stay home, don't leave, stay away from people and drink warm liquids. I'm sitting there going, let me think. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to be around people. And I got a 30-cup urn. I'm good. For 2 years, I didn't have a problem. I stayed home and nobody came to me and went, we got to go out. Okay. I had a select couple of people that were pretty much more reclusive than I was that we got together, and that was where it ended. For me, that was a godsend. For you, I don't know. Okay. For those of you that are very socially active, I have no idea how you managed to cope. Me, it was just a blessing. Murray, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Now, it is now quite literally time for people to turn around and go, okay, I'm not content with my life anymore. Time to make an alteration. Time to decide, okay, let's do that really weird thing. And hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, let's get up and make this world into the world we desire. Okay, preferably, well, quite frankly, you don't do it, you're in for a world of hurt. 3 karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, you follow those 3 laws, and you will find that your life starts to turn for the better. Don't take my word for it. Take a look at what I'm suggesting. If you haven't given it a shot before, make the effort. Put the effort into it and give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, it is just a very simple issue of if what you're doing hasn't been altering things. Honestly, LA, I'm not entirely certain what that means. Okay, I mean, LA has written it's embolic. I'm in. Now, what I don't know is what embolic or I almost call. I'm not even going to try and sort that out. Not just at this point. Where am I? Oh, okay. We copy that word. We go up here. Type that into there. 3 and 4 years ago, there's no way this would have worked. Oh, there we go. Ah. Nice. There we go. Thank you so much there, LA. Okay. See, and like I said, I do not know everything by any means. Okay, I simply operate. Yeah. See, I always look at it this way. Today is literally the first day of the rest of your life. Now, who here is absolutely content with the way your life is going? Okay. Are you absolutely content on the path you're on? In my case, I now have pulled out of an absolute nosedive where it came to my finances. Now, the neat little kicker to it, wonder if I've got it. I think it's right here. Nope. I worked it out. Now I just got to find it. Nope. That's not it. I have no idea. So I'm not going to look anymore. Anyway, yeah, I honestly there in LA, LA's going, it's the beginning of everything. It's a good topic. And yeah, it really is. Especially with today being the new year, another form of the new year. Okay. I'm a firm believer every moment of every day is the first step in the rest of your life. The question is, are you content with the path you're on? Okay, I now have it laid out, and I'm in the process of finalizing the calculations. Yeah, and there goes, it's a sort of spring ahead of spring. Thank you very much there, Storm. Okay, and I'm just going to read these out because those of you that are listening in are not in the chat room. These are rules that literally I passed on to the moderators. Okay, summary eviction. In other words, a real simple way to get tossed out of a room, stating that any belief structure, mine included, is better than any other one. Okay, it's just the moderators have been asked to go, you make the comment like that, you're going to take a vacation. You won't be banned. Okay, not on that, not that quick. But will you end up taking a vacation? Absolutely. Because my belief structure works really well for me. The advantage I've got is my belief structure. The one advantage I've got is I will stand by what I say. I do not see my method of looking at the world as the best in existence. It is simply the one that works for me. Okay, the second one is political lobbying. I have no problem with people going, yo, I like the Democrats, I like the Republicans, liberals, I don't care. Okay, like who you will. But we're not getting into any sort of a discussion of what politicians are up to or why they may be up to. I'm quite willing to discuss it. But if you want my views on it, quite literally, find a channel that wants to bring me on board and ask. I'll be just as blunt. I just won't do it here. Okay. And the third one, and this one I will throw people out for, stating anyone's opinion is wrong. Okay. An opinion cannot be wrong. You may have misunderstood the facts of the situation. You may have misinterpreted them. You may have misinformation. But your opinion is still an accurate opinion. Okay. It absolutely is. And of course, the 3 karmic laws are critical. Okay. It really boils down to this. You be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay. Those 3 laws are the ones that I live my life by. And when some of you will find out just how solid that fits in Reno in a few months. I will be there. Okay. I managed to get it turned around with a whole lot of help from other people. But avoided the heart attack, didn't avoid wrenching the back out because my system just was not polite to me. Okay. So now is a case of I'm looking in the mirror going, okay, how are we going to do this? Many people, the reason you're not changing your life is because you got no clue how or no clue where to begin. Now, when I take a look at this mess behind me, let me ask you this, guys. This is the bed I sleep on. So I've got this, I've got clutter over there. But in your eyes, what's the first thing, the first section of this office that's got to be clear? Bearing in mind, this is my bedroom. Okay. But what is the first area that's got to be cleared and sorted out before anything can be functionally done? Okay, just a curiosity thing. But yeah, Storm goes, be kind, be tolerant. Thank you. Absolutely, as long as people are being kind and being tolerant. And I love the people in this chat room. It's great. So many people I've seen come in here going, I've got a problem. I don't know how to deal with this. And so many others jump in and go, here's a way to step in. Now, speaking of which, and I don't know if you're listening, don't even know if I've actually got the, where was it? No, I think it was in here. Where are we? No. Somebody dropped me a line. I cannot remember offhand who it was. That's cute. Cannot for the life of me remember who actually did it. Okay, but somebody dropped me a line because I mentioned I will be in Reno. Okay, and somebody dropped me a line offering me a ride. Okay, because I had said, now I just got to find a way from the airport to the hotel. I mean, the reality is, I made this comment, and somebody immediately writes back and goes, "If you need a lift, drop me PM me." I talked to my other half, and we have decided that we're going to take them up on the offer. I'd tell you right here who you are. It's just sadly I don't know. And I have no idea how to find it because I don't remember where it was. But I will go back and figure it out. Now, where are we? Here. But again, it boils down to a very simple little issue. Where are we? Not that. Oh, that's because that's the wrong one. There. No, not there. I lost my... There's what I did. Oh, LA, you're absolutely right. It does. Okay. Problem is I don't have as big a desk space as I'd like. Oh, that's the funny thing, LA. LA goes, I think your desk needs to be sectioned, and each section have a specific use. You wouldn't lose things so readily. The ironic part is, I do agree with you. I absolutely have to get things a little better organized. As for it stopping me from losing things, I can be looking at a pen on my desk, not move from my chair, and have the pen go missing. It's annoying in a lot of ways. But I do agree it's got to be a little better organized. And normally that would be where I start and go, that's the first thing that's got to be done. The intriguing part is, if I don't get my bed cleared, I can't go to bed. Now, I was quite happy this morning. I actually slept in this morning, which was really a weird setup. But when you're looking at your life, the important factor at this point is decide what you're not content with. Okay. And start making adjustments. Absolutely critical. Yeah, I used to be like that, Ellie. I used to actually live in what amounted to a warehouse. But I used to know where everything was. Now the only thing I'm dead certain of is which of my two names comes first. Yeah, Raven81 goes, organized chaos. Absolutely. There are days when I feel like I walked into my office and a tornado hit it, and all of a sudden I'm going, what happened? And then you have to break it down. Well, I've got 3 sections on my office desk. The computer, the one desk holds my computer. Okay. Then I've got the one beside that holds my calendar. And I'm still using a tabletop calendar. Yeah. LA goes, oh, Raven knows me. A lot of people know exactly how to be absolutely chaotic. Okay. It takes, and I used to look at it and go, it takes a really sick mind to be organized. But I don't know if that's a good way to look at it. But hey, what the heck? The one thing we have to remember, or that would be wise to remember, is whether you change something now or you wait 3 weeks, when you get around to changing it, you are literally looking at literally changing it in the here and now. This is the only time in life or in existence you will ever be able to change something. Now, I gotta thank you guys. We right now have 20 likes for tonight. This is fantastic in my eyes. Okay, like I said, for me, it's not all about the numbers. It's also not all about the money. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Although I will tell you, I love the way a millionaire I was talking to one day put it. He goes, I've been, he turns around and goes, I've been miserable rich and I've been miserable poor. Hands down, I would rather be miserable rich. Now, I was, like I said, on the 3rd of January, I was sitting with literally $624.95 in my pocket that I had access to cash. Now, I'm sitting at just over $3,000. Finally got a source of income. Now things can start climbing. If I pay attention to what I'm doing, and here's the real kicker to making finances work. Okay, LA goes, I let Storm take over the kitchen. And what is that? Take over the kitchen. I know where nothing is now. Yeah. Yeah, but the important factor there is, does Storm know where things are? I took a look at the world that I'm living in now, and this is a real kicker to changing your finances. It's simple math. If you spend less money than what you're bringing in, your finances will improve. Yeah. LA goes, he does. The Storm comes in and goes, mostly. See, I'm lucky I didn't know in the first place. So I just look at it going, if I find something in the kitchen, I did well. I do know where one thing is. My fridge, my stove, my sinks, they all stay where they were put. Everything else is up to somebody else's guess. Okay. But where it comes to changing your finances are not the be-all and end-all of success. They are a method of barter. But spend less than you're generating, and you will find your bank account climbs. You will find, and money doesn't bring you happiness. But I like the way it was put to me. Money will not buy you happiness. It will, however, afford you to look for it in a lot more places. Okay. Now, I am going from literally that, under $1,000 to having bought and paid for my trip to Reno. Okay. So I will be there. That's the easy part. After that, and I'm going to start planning it now. Okay. After that, I am looking at making a 2-week trip south of the border again. 1 week to Texas, 1 week into Utah to see my other half. Okay. And this is, of course, contingent on one thing. Now, I know I've talked to them often enough. I know Texas is a go. I just have to pick the time. Utah depends on my trip into Reno. If the trip in Reno goes well, I'll head for Utah. If it doesn't, I won't. Of course, if it doesn't go well, I also will be single. And don't take this wrong, anybody. I'm hoping I'm not single. But it is one of those things you have to look at. But any change you're desiring to make, if you don't know how to do it, drop me a line, ask me a question, drop your questions into the comments. I will do my best to straighten things out. Okay, it really boils down to this. If you desire your life to change, God isn't going to do it. The aliens aren't going to correct it. And you can bet your bottom dollar the government is not likely to step up and say, hey, let's just forgive all your debts and you're free to go. I don't think any government in the world is going to pull that one off for you. But, hey, if you can get it to happen, there are exceptions to every rule. Okay, I'm an exception to most rules. Okay, apparently, when you die, when you're tagged and told, that person is dead, apparently you're not supposed to leave the morgue. This goes against all protocol. And I will tell you, morticians are not trained to deal with that. But one of the big things that I'm looking at this point, I've got a lot of information I'm sitting on that's got to get out. Because frankly, if it doesn't get out when I die, it goes with me. Unlike all of the other stuff, unlike the idea, LA goes, it's their policy. They can have their policy. I'm telling you, the table I woke up on, no pillows, no, it had a blanket, it had a white sheet on me, but their policy is you're now declared dead. You die. I looked at him and went, okay, I died. I'm leaving. So they can have their policy. Okay. And I will tell you, there are very few morticians that will argue with you if you've been diagnosed dead and put on their table. There are very few morticians that will look at you if you get up and you walk out, that'll come running after you going, hey, wait a minute, you can't leave, you're dead. They really don't do that. They may faint. I know the one that was attending me did. I couldn't figure it out when I died, when I passed away. He turned around, he passed out, and I'm like, why would you sleep on the floor? There's 8 or 10 other beds that are still available. You could have picked one. For that matter, why didn't you take your lab coat off? You could have hung it up. It would have been a little neater. Wasn't until decades later, it wasn't until decades later that I found out that no, the reality was you didn't wake up and embarrassed, you woke up in the morgue. My father actually brought me up to speed on that one. I laid out the situation. He goes, oh, I remember the morgue. I says, no, it was barracks. And he goes, no, it was a morgue. He says, I remember it quite well. And then everything, and then he repeated the same thing I'd already told him. Okay, with the sole exception that I woke up in the morgue. Now, if we go back to the original and to one of the earlier statements I made, man is not gauged by the height to which he climbs so much as by the depth from which he has climbed. Now, at 5 years old, I turned around, looked where my life was, and went, okay, I'm dead. That's pretty low on the activity level. Okay, now here I am, almost 61 years later, going, I'm alive. I'm finally coming out of the shadows going, okay, guys, they tell me it's lonely at the top. I'm going there. Who wants to go with me? It's that simple. If you desire to go with me, absolutely join in the run. I'm not interested in sitting back now and letting the government or anybody else tell me you can't do it. Okay, I'm a firm believer that you take the word can't, C-A-N apostrophe T, drop the apostrophe, split the T off, add an O. You can too do it. Poor English, but it gets the point across. Now, the offer is very simple. I figured out how I'm going to get there. Okay, I'm going to the top. That's just the way it is. Yes, I'm starting off, well, let's see, dead with $625, $624.95 to my name. Okay, now they were a fair chunk of time apart, but started off dead. I'm here living. Got the company I was working for 23 years folded. I'm unemployed, no income for a year. Okay, now I've got income, I've got money starting to come in. I am quite willing to lay out the path and go, here's how to get there. Okay, like I said, I returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind you that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I've tried this multiple times over the years. Okay, way back in the Roman Empire, I was sitting in the Senate and tried telling the senators, you have to work together. You got to treat the rich and the poor equally. If you don't, you got a problem. Okay, and society will tear itself apart. They didn't listen. Now, I'm not the wisest man on the planet. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out how to get my second foot in my mouth with the first one. I haven't entirely figured it out, but I'm getting better at it. Okay, they didn't listen to me then. Net result, they ended up with a gladiatorial revolt that, and I just found this out the other day. Okay, I was talking to another individual and just found out, as I always held, I did not start the riot. Okay, I just simply was part of it. What I didn't realize was something rather intriguing from my end, and now I gotta go find the movie and watch it. There was a gladiator by the name of Spartacus. Okay, I was not Spartacus. Okay, I was just another gladiator. Okay, but apparently I was involved in the riot that Spartacus initiated. Okay, at least I think he initiated. He certainly led it. Okay, turns out that was the gladiatorial revolt that I got caught up in. Okay, so with this in mind, I tried telling people you got to do things differently. Didn't work all that well. Okay. Storm goes, neat fact. Inserting feet strains your back. Give it up. Good idea, I used to have this neat little thing. They call it the falling sickness. Okay. I am still listed as epileptic. But I'd walk along and I'd do a face plant, do the dead fish routine for a while, and then stop and I'd sleep for hours. I finally cured it. We found a cure. Don't use it. The cure that we discovered was quite literally, I had a fatal heart attack, and then after I come back, I no longer was having seizures. I'll tell you, it's a radical therapy. Do not use it. Bad idea. Most people that have a fatal epileptic seizure, sorry, not fatal heart attack. I had those before too, but a fatal epileptic seizure. Okay, most people that have one, that's it. They fall down, do the dead fish routine, quit wiggling around, and then somebody turns around and buries them. But it worked for me. I'm the exception. I am not an exception when I tell you, put a list together of the things you desire to change. Get it done tonight. Now, I strongly recommend you pick 12 to get done before the end of 2024. Yeah, Raven, it really was. Okay. When I had the seizure, mom and dad were really unhappy. I can't imagine why. Okay, I ended up being pronounced dead. Now, that wasn't the worst one. Okay, the one, because that one happened when I was 8, maybe 9 years old. But I was 5 when I walked out of the morgue. They pronounced me dead, tagged me, shipped me to the morgue. And then I woke up and went, nope, I don't like this place, so I'm leaving. Okay. I mean, I'm absolutely certain someone screwy with my operating system. But you have the capacity, probably not to recover from a fatal heart attack as often as I have. Okay. And by the way, for those of you that are wondering, somebody mentioned the other day, oh, you've had anxiety attacks. That's a cute thought, but anxiety attacks don't stop your heart to the point that the doctors have to drag out defibs. Okay, the defibrillators. That's a pretty big indicator that there was a problem. But you do have the capacity to take your life. Well, no. Yeah, you got that capacity, but how about if we don't do that? You've got the ability to change your life for what you consider the better. If you do not know where to begin, absolutely talk to me. As soon as I've got the literal itinerary done, I will be putting a course together for it. LA goes, what I saw wasn't an anxiety attack. Now, I do have to ask you there, LA. Now, I know you've had heart attacks. I realize I know you've seen them all over the place. I'm curious as to which one you saw. You know, anxiety attacks, I will agree, they look very similar to a heart attack. Your shortness of breath, the pain in the chest, the whole 9 yards. They don't tend to stop the heart cold. You know, and I mean, I've had enough doctors look at me and go, how are you still breathing? I'm like, you know, open mouth, fill lungs, push the air back out, you carry on. Well, yeah. Heart attacks are funny. You know, they really are. But they are correctable, even mid-stride. You know, I've done it before, and I will absolutely do it again if I'm put in the same. I will do my best to do it again. This lifetime, let's forget every other past life I've been through. This lifetime, I drew somebody out, I guided somebody out of a 6-week coma. Okay. Now, in case you're not aware, when you're in a coma for 6 weeks and the doctors say you're done, okay, the person is dead, we're calling it. That at that point, the doctor is going, he's dead. Now, I've done this in past lives as well, but this lifetime, my former father-in-law came down with a case of rapid spreading small cell lung cancer, dropped him into a 6-week coma. And when the doctor said he's going, we're going to bag him, say your goodbyes, his wife came to me and goes, look, I understand you do things a little differently. Can you do anything to help my husband? I don't desire to bury him. So I looked at her and I says, I won't guarantee anything, but I'll do what I can. I went into the room after the whole family had said their goodbyes and went home. I went into the hospital room and I sat there. I worked on him for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I went home. The next morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, roughly, this guy, he's been absolutely non-responsive for 6 weeks. All of a sudden, he sits upright in bed, looks at the nurse and goes, I'm hungry. And the only thing that he had lost, he didn't realize he'd been out for 6 weeks. Okay. He did eventually die 17 years later. I had another client was brought to me that was in a wheelchair that I worked on her for a couple of hours, and literally we pulled her out of a wheelchair. Okay. Then a year after we got her out of the wheelchair, I ran into her and she turned around and goes, I was in the wheelchair for 3.5 years. Couldn't get out of it at all. Now, well, when I ran into her, she was on a cane, but she hadn't touched the wheelchair since we got her out of it. Okay. Myself, I used to, my eyesight used to be so bad. How bad was it? Sitting here, okay, and I could hold my glasses right there and could not physically see them. Okay. Did some work on me, and here I am. I can see reading up close. I still can't drive without glasses. Okay. And, it would be a lot more fun for other people, but runs into a bit of a problem. Yeah. I'm just looking back up here. LA is going, yeah, heart attack is painful as hell, but can be averted with the right steps. Absolutely. It was funny when my heart stopped and because of being hit with a cold stream of water. I walked about 150 feet. Very choppy walking. Got to my father and told him, I says, I said, my heart's on. I got hit with cold water. I'm having a lot of trouble getting, working because my heartbeat's off. And Dad, he got my heart working. And now bear in mind, my father, not only was he EMT, but he was also an energy worker. He got my heart started again. He looks at me and goes, after it got started, he goes, okay, Keith, your heart wasn't a little off. He said, your heart had stopped. I went, oh, well, that would explain my problem with making things move in a hurry. But these are things I know are possible. I've done them. Can I teach people how to do them? That you're going to love this one. The answer is yes. Can everybody do it? Well, yes. But the first key, just like changing your life, you have to realize, you have to accept that it is possible for you to do it. Now, do I do things in an unorthodox fashion? You can bet your bottom dollar. Am I ever going to lie to you to make you feel better? Only if I'm asked politely. And then I will tell you, okay, this is where I start lying. Okay, I don't see the point to it. I don't have a great memory, a great recall. Got fabulous memory. Don't have a great recall. So if I lie, I have to remember what I told you. Okay, doesn't work for me. Did you look at that? We got 21 thumbs up. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and I could not be, I could be happier. I could be jumping up and down and trying to do, but I jump up and down. It's like, it's 3 jumps on the floor. 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump, 4. Kind of like 1 tequila, 2 tequila. Of course, in my case, there's a lot more than 1. But it is up to you if you are desirous of changing your life for the better, of reclaiming power over your life. Okay, now, do I know how to do it? Well, best I can tell you is I can tell you I do. I can tell you my life is shifting because of it. Okay, what I cannot tell you is whether you will have the drive to make it happen. I will tell you, I got all the patience in the world for somebody that's making the effort. Okay, and one of the reasons I brought up the issue of the newsletter. I'm combining the newsletter with the live stream. Okay, in order to make these things happen. Absolutely. And again, and where are we here? We go to there. And we go to this. If you desire a copy of the newsletter, it is absolutely free. All you got to do is drop me a line and literally, that's email to do it through. Drop me a line and you literally tell me, can you add me to the subscription list? Done deal. That's the only requirement. Okay. It does come out by email only, but only on request. I don't even post it anywhere. Okay, not the actual newsletter itself. But I blew my printer apart, so I don't do hard copy anymore. I will, however, tell you. Oh, perfect, Raven. I will be going into my email tonight, and that said, now since March's won't come out, you'll be getting February's. Okay. Now I've got them all the way back to July of last year. Okay. If you desire more than just the one. Okay, if you desire the back issues, I've got them all. Okay. The other thing is, if in your journeys you come across something of a positive nature, okay, that you would like to see and put into the newsletter, absolutely drop me a line. Now, do understand this is a free newsletter, meaning I do not pay for contributions. I simply add it to the newsletter. That's it. Okay, I don't pay for it. I don't charge for it. Therefore, I don't pay for it. It's simple. Advertising, I do my own advertising. there will be times when I will advertise for somebody else. Once subscription level gets up high enough where it works, I'll start considering selling. Okay. Selling advertising spots, but for the moment, not going to happen. On the flip side of that, the newsletter will remain free. It's just that simple. Okay. I have a certain way of doing things, and like I've mentioned to people, I was talking to a very a very successful businessman, and like I told him, I am not doing this because of the fact I'm going to become a multimillionaire off the newsletters, okay, off the publishing, off the writings, the books I'm writing. Absolutely, I intend on making a stable income. Absolutely, I do. But I worked it out. I can be making $1 billion a month and only be pocketing about, with $1 billion, I will be pocketing about, I think, 80% of $1 billion. I think it works out to about 800. I think it's 800 million essentially. If I make $1 billion in a month, I mean, it's great, but I've already worked it out that I will be returning to customers, contributors, purchasers, suppliers, 80% of my net income will be going back out to the public. Now, here's the funny kicker to it. I love this part. I only require $2,500 to live essentially high on the hog. I don't need a great big sprawling mansion. I live in a 3-bedroom apartment. It's fabulous from my end. No stairs, no yard work, no elevators, roughly 1,000 square feet. And even when my rent goes up in a month or two, I'm still under 1,100 a month with 3 people paying the rent. And the average for a 3-bedroom place in this city is 3,500. So there is no viable reason for me to move. Okay, I will be pushing to bring things up to reach more and more people. And if we just start, if you do, look at it from the concept of a 1 to 2% return. Keep that in mind, because whatever money you're spending on it, that's what you're looking at in the way of rate of return. You got to be prepped to play the long game. This is just, and understand, a business. If you run a household, you're running a business. If you're running a little mom and pa's grocery store, or anything up to an intercontinental mega corporation, it's still a business. It still plays by the same rules. You still have to deal with it, as in pay your rent, pay your lease, pay your insurance, your food, your entertainment, your utilities. Get the picture? This is why I've written different books. The one I've been talking about is Believe in Yourself. It boils down to planning what you feel, what you're not content with, and changing the way your life is running by simply modifying the path it's following. If you're not content with the way things are going, make a change. Doesn't matter what the change is. Okay, you can still make that change. That is the biggest thing you got to look at. Now, again, if I've covered a lot today, and absolutely, I mention this pretty much every time. What is today? Today is Saturday. So, whenever I'm on, it doesn't matter, but I'm on literally Friday to Wednesday, usually from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. If you've got a question in any topic, even if it is not the topic I'm talking about, put your questions in the chat room in all caps, preferably all caps so I can find the thing. Okay, all caps, partial caps, even just a wavy hand. Okay, tomorrow night I will be back. Tomorrow Sunday, so I come back in with open topic. Bring your questions. Doesn't matter the topic. If I have an answer, I'll give you an answer. If I don't, if I don't have the answer, I'll tell you I haven't got a clue. Or I'll tell you I'm not giving you that answer. And there are questions I just won't. But I will tell you, I won't leave it sit. Oh, I missed the question. No, I saw the question, I just ain't answering it. I've ticked off a lot of people doing that. Okay, but tomorrow is open topic. And where are we here? Thank you very much for that, LA. Now, I do have to, it has been a real joy. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. And the thing is, working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. This is not up to the politicians. It's not up to the so-called elite. It's not up to the industry leaders. It is up to you. You as an individual. It's up to you to change your life for what you consider the better. Okay, I will more than happily turn the lights on and go, here's where you may be running into hiccups. Absolutely, drop me a line. Okay, but until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, make certain you do stay positive